Hey everyone, I'm Travis, and in this video you're going to see us go into more detail about this custom fuel cell and explain exactly what's going on with all this stuff here. Enjoy. Okay, so here we are today. We are going a little bit back to front here, showing you the finished product, and then we're going to go through the guts and then out the other side and showing you kind of how it all came together. This tank here is about 90 liters, which is pretty good for a truck like this. I had to move a bunch of cross members and things like that to kind of make it all work and get this desired size, let's say. You'll notice a lot of round corners, things like that. That's to avoid cracking, anything along those lines. And yeah, I also did a lot of calculations and things like that to make sure that we could make this as small as possible but hold the most amount of gas as possible. Yeah, I will warn you guys before we get too far into this video. It is a little dry, it is a little nerdy, but if you lie awake thinking of gas tanks, then this may be the video for you. I figured I do, so somebody else in the world probably does too. Here's the baffles inside. This is a carbureted truck, so we're not too worried about the baffling or the holding fuel up at the engine, but we're not going to do it either way. So there was a lot of in-depth thinking with these. I mean, probably too much. But I want to kind of keep that gas at the pickup and that driver's front side. So you'll see the way this is kind of laid out. The backside kind of is a little more free to move around, and the top of the tank is free to move around. But then kind of where it counts, it's kind of locked in, and if the fuel level was ever below that level, it should be kind of controlled. Speaking of fuel level, this is the Holley easy level fuel sender, something like that. This thing just shoots a laser beam into the gas instead of a mechanical float, so it kind of sends the signal back like that. Not sure exactly how it works, but it's a cool piece of tech. This little piece here is a grounding point. I don't know if this is unnecessary or if it is overlooked by other people, but if I'm going to build this thing, I might as well just put a little ground spot where I can run a ground wire and just take any unnecessary static charge out of there. Could be unnecessary, could be whatever, but I did it anyways. This is the filler. You'll see it's a little bit unique. We're doing a stock bedside filler with this thing, kind of like a normal truck. So I had a few challenges to kind of get around and work around. It was a little bit challenging, but you'll see the other vent to the left of that. But moving on to the drain here. So the drain, the pickup, whatever you want to call it, this was a simple off-the-shelf bung that will weld in. It also gives me versatility as far as fitting goes. Instead of welding an AN bung on there, I can actually weld or I can put any kind of fitting in there with the pipe thread fitting. These pieces here, this is the vent. So if you have a filler and you have a drain, you need a vent. This is a rollover valve. There's a lot of things on rollover valves. You could buy fancy ones, but this is just a stock one that Ford uses, and I kind of bought the quality pieces. And it's a simple hole you drill in your tank, so kind of a good mix of practicality and reliability. And when it comes to burning alive, you want something that's pretty reliable. So I trusted Ford engineers on that one. This is the pressure testing setup. So I don't have a compressor at the shop, but with a bike pump and some duct tape, you can pressure test just about anything. So like I said, it's a little hokey, but it does a trick. It did blow some bubbles. There were a few pinhole leaks, nothing too crazy. Something we were able to fix up. Obviously, you want to fix up all your pinholes before you carry on to any next stage of anything you're going to do. So this leads me right into a sealer. So a lot of people don't like sealers. Some people do. Some people say you don't even need them. All these types of things. Myself personally, I like them. I think it holds the inside of the tank together really well, and it also combats that kind of corrosiveness of gas and kind of instability or misstability or unstableness of gas today. So I like running the sealer. You make your own decision on that one. That's up to you. The mounting aspect of this was used with gas tank straps. That's kind of how they mounted every tank ever. So I'm going to do that with a little bit of foam and some powder coat to kind of keep it from rubbing. But other than that, it was good. And then these pins are a little bit different. So those pins there, the steel pins, they get welded into the frame. That pin then sits inside this bushing. That's actually a Harley riser bushing, which is kind of cool. And then that bushing sits inside this mount that gets welded to the tank. So if you're following me, it's not exactly bolted in, but it's just kind of sitting in these located pins. So the gas tank straps hold the weight of it, and then these pins hold the location of it. That kind of helps it takes the stress away in a sense, where the aluminum kind of likes to flex a little bit, kind of likes to grow, kind of likes to vibrate a little bit, and it keeps it from being super rigid mounted where it will crack or break or bend in any way. So instead of having a rigid mounted bolt, it kind of gives it a little bit extra, just a little breathing room, it's just a little bit of space for it to do what it feels like. But there's a good shot of that there, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, how it just kind of locates itself in there and holds it in there. It is tight, it doesn't move, and fits good. So like I said, the gas tank straps hold the weight, and then the pins hold the location. Speaking of the location, you'll see it's quite tucked up in that frame. That is a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I mean, you see a nice clean hot rod, and then you see this big fuel cell still, hanging down. It just kind of wrecks it for me. I'm not a big fan of it, so I put a lot of effort into keeping that up there. And then you'll see the taper at the bottom of the tank, and that's kind of it for the gadgets and doodads of this thing. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. See you at the next one.